We will call this meeting May the 7th, 2024 of the Hendry County School Board to order. If you would please rise as we do the invocation and pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Superintendent, looks like we have a few recognitions this evening.
We do have a couple of recognitions this evening. These are potential retirees, but they're not official until we sign the paperwork. So depending on how next year's availability goes, we may or may not sign them yet. They don't know that, but so we may not sign all of them yet. We'll see. To get us started this evening, I'm going to ask Director of ESE and Student Services, Ms. Lynette White, to come forward and get us started.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, you know who you are. Bernadette Hicks and Lorraine Forshee, if you'll both come forward. They are a tremendous asset to our district and all the services they provide for our students, and have Ms. Forshee over here has been with the district for over 40 years. So let's give her a yeah, 43, is that right? 43. And she is currently serving as our gifted teacher. And how long have you been in the gifted? 25 in the gifted program. So we've moved her here, moved her there. She's had lots of different spaces and had to be flexible, and we worked through some of that change over the years. I'm sure you've seen lots of change, but we're going to miss you, and thank you so much for your service to the district. This is a certificate in recognition of all your work over the years, and this goes with that, and then this is from our department as well. Thank you. One more. Bernadette Hicks. They say you're an IPK teacher in here, so I might reprint that. So she's not an inclusion pre-K teacher, but she serves our county on both sides of the district as a pre-K itinerant teacher. She goes in to support some of the private schools with students. She does some of our assessments for bringing students into the district for those students who need services in 3 and 4 years of age. And so we are so sad as well that we're going to miss you, Miss Bernadette. Thank you for all you've done. Okay. This is a certificate of recognition. Her years, now listen, she's only been with us for 3 years. Okay. But she's been in the field for many, many years. She started in Lee County in '97, and so she has 28 years of service to students and education. So
27 years, and I never got out of pre-K.
Oh, so big hands for Miss Bernadette Hicks. I'm going to give you a hug. We're going to take a picture. Okay? Okay. I've already had y'all already a lot, but hold on
Back up
that.
to the front of the dais. We'll kind of get to the board there.
Trying to make sure you see the people behind me. So. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
What was a good decision? And for the next, ma'am? Yeah, please, move right ahead.
I am sorry. I just want to posthumously thank Rick Shear for giving me this opportunity to support me for so many years. He's been such an influence in my life. He taught me that relationships and family was most important, and you needed to really think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because he said that you need to understand the culture where the students are coming for in order to help with their academic achievement. And I just wanted to say that, and I thank Rick Shear so much for that.
Glory. next presenter this evening, Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly from Coastal Middle School, if you want to come on up, she's going to give a few presentations out as well.
Okay. You know, wait for our social butterfly over here. Our social butterfly. So yes, so I have the amazing opportunity to honor these two incredible ladies. And I also want to honor Lori, who has served at Coastal Middle School as well. It's just been absolutely amazing. Ms. McLemont has been our ESC collab teacher. She's been our self-contained teacher. She's been guidance counselor. She's probably was a principal at some point. And so we are sad to see her go, but we're also very happy for this next season of her life. And so this is for you. One thing that, I jokingly said social butterfly for Ms. McLemont, but our students love Ms. McLemont. Ms. McLemont loves our students, and she loves them so very well. And that's really the heart of a teacher, and she has been willing to do anything that we've asked her to do, try new things, step into new things, and so we just want to honor you, Ms. McLemont. So we got this for you, and we also have this for you. You're very welcome. Okay, and then I have Ms. Hughes beside me. Ms. Hughes has been teaching she's been in education for over 37 years. Most of her career, 37 years, we're finishing it up. And so she was a science teacher for many, many years, and most recently she served as our guidance counselor. And so she is taking the leap into retirement as well. And so we're excited for her, we're happy for her, she will be missed. She took on the challenge of being a guidance counselor and had no clue what she stepped into, but she has been on a huge whirlwind of a learning curve, and she has served us so well as well. So I want to thank you for everything, and we also
Mr. Shear, I'll say too, Mr. Shear, you hit the nail on the head. It is about relationships and caring for kids, and all these folks, that we recognize tonight. We're just so honored and blessed to have them. Their hearts. We should have done some math on the combined years. There was a couple of 100 years worth of love that got poured out in Hendry County into a bunch of students tonight, and I'm just grateful that I had the chance to be a part of, part of that you created for our students. So thank you for everything you do, and I hope you all enjoy retirement. You good? You don't see good? See everybody there?
So we're going to look at this at Jackie. And then we're going to look at Mr.
Thank you.
How are you?
I know, I love you.
No social. I'm due in 6 days. Well, my doctor says any minute.
Yeah.
Hi.
One more quick one, if you don't mind. So how many of you, I know some of the board members made it over to see the debate at LaBelle High School a couple of weeks ago, or last week, was it? And the Incubate Debate program has been started for a couple of years now in Hendry County schools. And what we know about education is those that are doing the talking are doing the learning. And so it's one thing for a teacher to be able to stand in front of a group and teach a said subject, but when students get up and they talk about it and debate it and ask questions and challenge each other, we know that deep understanding and deep knowledge is happening there. We were very honored to have Mr. James Fishback. He's the founder and president of Incubate and Debate, a nonprofit working to bring the power of debate to young Americans. Teachers in Hendry County schools were the first Florida to integrate Incubate Debate into their classrooms. Last month, 500 Hendry County students participated in engaging in educational debates with their classmates on debate topics tied directly to state standards, mind you, like whether it was necessary to drop the atomic bombs in Japan in 1945. I sat and listened to it, and I learned, by listening to the students and the questions that they brought out. We wanted to take just a minute and know that this is a trend that's happening in a phenomenal way for us to teach our students and give them a way to expand their minds and knowledge base. And Mr. Fishback has some staff with him that's here, and I'll allow him to introduce them, but at least a couple of his staff members are graduates of Wilson High School, LaBelle High School, and they go all around the state and nation, really, fostering the Incubate debate. And so we would like to recognize Mr. Fishback, ask him to come up. I think he wants to say a few words about the program and what it means and how Hendry County will catapult the program into a huge existence. Mr. James Fishback.
Well, thank you very much. Superintendent Swindle, members of this distinguished board, members of the community, thank you. Thank you for giving Incubate Debate this opportunity to partner with the students, the teachers, and staff of this great county. Last month, we had 500 young men and women who never had formal debating experience, never been up on a dais, had never thought about debate versus 2-on-2, but through our Incubate Debate format we call Roundtable, they were able to engage in an educational, enriching debate right in the classroom. And this for us has always been our mission. We've been for the past 5 years hosting in-person debate competitions for students, not just here in Hendry County, but all over the state of Florida and a couple other states nearby. And we love doing that. We love kids coming to us and debating. We love that. Coming out and debating economic issues, healthcare, immigration, the economy. There's no shortage of issues to be debating right now, Superintendent. We can have a debate about whether we should be debating some of these issues. But what we realized through this partnership with Hendry is that we can't just be the platform for students to come and debate with us. We have to bring debate directly to the students. Why? Well, think about it. It's one thing to sit and listen to a lecture on whether it was necessary to drop the atomic bombs on Japan in 45. Another thing to write an essay on whether we should have dropped the atomic bombs on 45. But it is an entirely different level to then engage in a civil, respectful debate on whether we should have dropped the bombs in 1945. And that's what 500 students did in this county. Look at that civility pledge on the way in. And the ability to disagree agreeably. That skill has never been in more demand in this country right now. And so what the students were able to do here, with the help of their teachers, with the staff of Hendry County, with the incredible support of Roberto Sanchez, is they were able to engage with the material they were learning in class at a higher level. They were able to build communication skills that are valuable when they're applying for a job or when they're coming to a school board meeting and petitioning their government. And the third thing is they were learning the art of civil discourse. And so these 500 students, Superintendent Swindle, what they were doing last month was they weren't just setting history for Hendry County or for Florida. Our hope is that this movement we are working on together, something we call Make Debate Great Again, something we can all get behind. We actually have a hat. It's blue, not red. And I get looks in the airport, and then they look at it again and they say, I'm okay. But it's a movement of teachers, of elected officials, of students, of parents, of Americans, distinct and diverse in every single way, who recognize the enriching educational power of open debate. And I am honored, our team is honored to have done this with Hendry. It would not have been the success that it was had we not did it with you all. So again, thank you so much. We look forward to bringing this to more schools and more students here in Hendry, across Florida, and across this great country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pat everywhere. Now, we've got about 3 hours worth of meeting. Those of you who want to stay, you're welcome to. If this is where you want to, if you want to slip out at this point in time, you're welcome to do that as well.
I'm fired up and ready to entertain everything tonight.
I'm gonna get the timer.
And I wanted to make the time too. You know, I'm afraid of what's going on in my life.
Superintendent, do we have any citizen comments?
I have none at this time.
No citizen comments. We'll move on to the consent agenda. So, do we have any board members that would like to move anything from the consent agenda to an action item?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question and possibly a movement. My question is, well, actually, it's more of a state, or a question and a statement on personnel recommendations. I loved the updated job descriptions and the fact that folks are gonna have to sign acknowledging that they've read it and understand that this is the performance expectation. Aside from that, were there any, it wasn't redlined, so I didn't know if there was significant changes from previous.
No, mostly it was template type formats, the emblem and stuff like that, or the seal.
Okay, but I do like the signature acknowledgement of that, so.
Awesome.
And then on presence, or item L, presence contractual agreement for SLP teletherapy services. That's a big chunk. I know that's for online speech. Are we still struggling to get providers, in-person providers for that?
Yes, we are. Ms. White just stepped out of the room with her group that she had in here recognizing. Now, I believe the Presence Learning actual contract was actually cheaper. This was one who was the company we were with last year?
So we've done with Soliant throughout the years, and they've just really outpriced us as far as our hourly is about $78.80 with Soliant right now, and Presence is coming in at $73. And this is all an hour, by the way, for SLPs. So we are trying to do some other things to get more people in the district. I think she's been able to hire 2, and we're gonna keep one out there. So as we hire in, we can slowly taper off. Presence already knows we have a 30-day in that contract, so we can taper off their services. But until then, it's just what we have to. So it was in an effort to save money. It's only about right now an $80,000, I think $70,000, $80,000 savings between the two, but it will increase.
So it's a high number, but it's still way cheaper than what we're paying.
Exactly.
Yeah, 70 it's nothing to sneeze at. Are we seeing an increase in the students who are requiring this, or these services, or?
We are seeing an increase in services, period, but this, just Presence Learning is about 300, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was about 360, 370 students that need speech, just with the need for speech.
And there's some kids who are getting face-to-face, like human contact,
Yes,
right? Okay.
Yep. The ones that absolutely need it are getting that.
Okay.
But the ones that we can maintain on that other level are getting that one.
And we have the option, as if we can bring more
Yes.
in-house, to taper off from this
Yeah,
contract.
and that's what we're doing. We're bringing them in and tapering the other off. It's just a matter of trying to entice them in.
Okay, understood, thank you.
And every other district in the state in the demand.
Yeah, I know.
Not enough people fill the
Yeah.
demand, so it's true.
I mean, it's hard to get private providers, so
Yes.
I understand that. That concludes
All
our
right.
comments.
Well, Mr. Superintendent, with that, do we have your recommendation for the consent agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I recommend your consideration and favorable approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ms. Beeson, seconded by Reverend Brown. Yes. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We move on to action items. Mr. Superintendent, we have your recommendation for a new personnel allocation request.
Yes, sir. I recommend your favorable approval of action item 5A, new personnel allocation request as presented.
Motion. So moved. Motion by Reverend Brown, second by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Action item B, Mr. Superintendent, we have your recommendation.
Yes, sir, but before I give the recommendation, I'm going to ask Ms. Jordan, Director of HR, to come forward and kind of give you some content and some background on this item and introduce some folks that are here with you this evening to answer some further questions if you have those. So, with no further ado, Ms. Jordan, Director of HR.
Good evening, everybody. I have to tell you that this experience, while most people would think I'm totally weird, this experience with insurance has been fabulous. I am so excited about the company that we are bringing before you tonight and what we really feel like is going to change, profoundly change our employees' insurance, how they look at insurance, how they feel about insurance, and ultimately what it's going to do to help us to move into risk sharing, which is the whole reason that we really all came together. And so I'm going to actually turn it over to Darren, who is going to explain a little bit. He's our consultant with Avail. And then we also have Glenn Little as well as Mike Caraway, who are our reps with Centria. And so they also can share if you have any questions for them as far as scope of services or anything really. Go ahead, Darren.
It's going to be past the button, I think, but, Mr. Superintendent, Chair, members of the board, good to see you again. And as Ms. Jordan said, remember, I'm Darren Bryan from Avail Benefits. My job, remember, was part of our contract was helping you all find a contract effectuator and moving from fully insured to self-funded with FSHIP. One of FSHIP's requirements in the next 2 years will be contract effectuation, and it's kind of ironic a little bit that we had such a great presentation earlier about learning and engagement, and that's really what these guys are here to talk to you about. FSHIP believes that for members to sit and listen to an agent talk about their insurance, talk about their health insurance is one thing, but to truly engage in it is something different. And when they engage, lots of times it's too late for them to make the right decision. Mrs. Jordan was just sharing with me an experience she had just the other day in which she went to go find some imaging and thought, I didn't do that right. I didn't go through maybe the process I should have to make it. Could have come to the same decision, but the engagement piece, her knowing how to handle that ahead of time, isn't something that we've been able to do in the district. And this is what these guys are charged to do. We went through a very, very long process as in running an ITN and procurement. Your insurance committee did a phenomenal job, worked really, really hard for quite a bit of time. It was about a 45-day process where about a week was very intense, where members of the committee sat and listened to presentations from 6 different companies that came in, worldwide companies, and some with, and just like Centria, with very good reputations in the industry. We went through a grueling scoring process. We negotiated with them. The committee was able to ask lots and lots and lots of questions. We narrowed it down to 2, Century and one other candidate, and your committee scored and awarded these guys. So they're here tonight to answer any questions you might have about really what contract effectuation is from their perspective, what they're going to be doing for you. I think you probably had a chance to review some of the public work that they submitted. I'm here to answer any questions you may have about that, FSHIP's perspective, but without stealing any thunder, I'll let the guys from the Centria Public Risk answer on their behalf, and we'll go from there. Thank you again for letting us be part of that process.
Do y'all have something prepared y'all want to say?
We can, absolutely, yes.
So what I would recommend, maybe give a broad overview specifically of what the contract effectuator specifically does and how you're going to, braid and intertwine with the self-insured model. I think that would be great, just to kind of bring everyone's knowledge level to the equal playing field.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Superintendent Swindle, great to meet you. Chairman, board members, we're thrilled to be here. We did drive in from Northwest Florida, so it was about 7.5 hours, so forgive us if we look a little, exhausted from the windshield time. Glenn Little and I are partners on this account, and we are also partners on other school districts throughout the state of Florida. Municipality is we like to call ourselves generalists, but we certainly focus more on public sector and primarily school districts throughout the state. We represent Swanee, we represent Okaloosa County Schools, Jackson, Walton. A lot of them are our clients, and we've earned their trust and their business because of the things I'm going to talk to you about today. And I think how we won the account and the votes with working through Avail and working through Kim and Francis, which again was a very thorough process. The decision was not made lightly, but some of the things that we believe in that we want to bring to your county is that we believe that communication to the employees, making sure that they have a clear understanding of how not just their health insurance, but all of their insurance products across the board work, so they make informed decisions during open enrollment. So how do we do that? We have a program and a platform that we're going to deploy to your district called Benefits VIP. And it's a member advocacy platform that all of your employees and all of your dependents will have access to, which is a single point of contact. One number that they call, in addition to our team being an extension of Kim's team. But when your employees are out there during the day, instead of calling Kim and saying, hey, I have a life insurance question or a disability question or a health question, they're calling one number and that person knows your package entirely. Now they go beyond just telling them what their deductible is and how they get an ID card and that. They're talking about where's the best place to go have an MRI done. Best outcome, lowest cost. You all are self-funded now through FSHIP. So the ultimate goal is to make sure they have the best outcome, best care, but also keeping their out-of-pocket expenses low as well as the district's surplus, because that's how we all at the end of the year keep a sustainable plan. We're also going to roll out a program called our Benefits mobile app. So employees on their smartphone are going to be able to download all of their benefits onto their smartphone, and they're going to have it at their fingertips. From their ID cards, for their dental plan, their vision plan, their medical plan. If they're on their way to get a prescription filled, they can hit that mobile app and they can tell them where's the best place to get this specific script filled at the best cost, best outcome, and so forth. So very, very sophisticated, however, very easy to use. The other thing that we would love to do, and this is going to require your approval because this is a top-down approval for us to make this work, is we have a hybrid approach to how your employees enroll, right? They're going to be using a benefit administrative system through Employee Navigator, right? That's what we want to install. From there, we want the employees, when they make their elections, to know how the plans work and how they function, so they choose the best plan for themselves and their family. So we're certainly going to do group meetings. We're also going to give them the opportunity to have one-on-one, face-to-face meetings. And that's going to be from top management leadership here, as well as the leadership in the individual school sites and the administrative buildings. And I know that Darren and his team are on board. I know Kim was very happy that we could deploy those type of resources to the district. We're also big on wellness. We're going to have a wellness platform that you will have available to all of your employees and their dependents, as well as an RN wellness coordinator that will work with your wellness champions within the school district, right? And we're going to support that in the community. We're going to work in collaboration, and we're also going to invest in competitions. I think you all do 2 5K races a year here for wellness to promote that. We're going to be involved in that. We believe that the wellness is going to be a big driver in long-term cost control. We're going to be here participating in board meetings. We want you all to know how the plans are running, in addition to complementing what Avail does. So that's high level, that was a lot condensed to what we did in 45 days, but that's what we are, that's what we do as the agent effectuator for your plan.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just add two things to what Century is saying. Part of our job at Avail will be if and when you all approve them, and a contract is settled, our job at Avail is to audit that contract. That's part of our duties that we in our contract for you. We'll bring to you a written report of their performance. Inside their submittal, they offer performance guarantees. And I don't know if you guys, this is part of your packet, but there's 5 different domains that they offer the 10% penalty of the $296,000, I think, so roughly $30,000 for each one that they do not perform on, that we will audit them and give to you, and you can go forthwith. I asked Ms. Kim, I don't know that you have this, but I just want to give you a glimpse of, in their BAFO, their best and final offer, Avail presented to them with a day in the life of a Hendry County scenario. And so I want to just read these questions to you. I won't give you the answers. We'll be happy to share this with you if you don't already have it. But item 1 said daily membership billings. Finance Department has received bills from 3 carriers that require monthly reconciliation. Suspicion is that weekly EDI feed, that's the electronic data interface feed from the benefit enrollment software, is causing this issue. However, the reconciliation report must be completed as soon as possible. What members of your team of your servicing will be helping the Finance Department with billing reconciliation issues for carriers and/or FSHIP? And what members of your servicing will be looking into the software suspicion? That's a real life scenario that your Finance Department has said, and I mean, we've talked about and worked through some of those things. Item number 2, 8 members of the Hendry County School Board have called into HR and told them several issues ranging from prior authorization issues, incorrect billing, member ID cards, and where to have advanced imaging. Sounds like one we just heard a little bit. Who of your team is going to be assigned to do this? They were talking about benefits VIP. They gave answers to all of these. As the calls come into HR, what is the suggested procedure for HR staff to redirect the members to your firm? So again, how are they engaging? How are they working with your employees? The insurance committee has asked your firm to host pre-enrollment, open enrollment meetings at each school site, a minimum of 2 times before opening day of open enrollment. These meetings are in a group setting. There are 14 work sites in the district. Open enrollment begins October 1st. How are you going to do it? And so they had to answer that question specifically to them. How are they going to do that? 14 work sites, maybe 1 or 2, plus or minus 1. And they had to answer the question to the committee of how effectively and efficiently they were going to do that. And what service members of your team will be assigned to this project. And finally, we asked 2 more questions. 2025 membership packets are a key tool that can be used to help members with open enrollment questions. How are you going to build these? When will they be presented to the members? And the local provider is consistently not following network protocols by charging members for services when benefits clearly state they should not. How are you going to engage in this? How are you going to fix that? So they went through these questions and answered them to your committee. Just wanted you to know it wasn't just, and so it wasn't just, hey, you guys look good. They stood before your committee and was ruled pretty good in front of them. Just want you to know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question, please, Short.
So a year ago, when we went with FSHIP and then Avail, we talked about the reasons we were doing that and self-funding and so forth was we're going to save money. That was obviously that's our job as the school board is to try to keep our finances in order. That's the main function. How much money are we saving and how much more will it cost us for the benefits VIP?
The benefits VIP and the mobile app are inclusive of our fee. So we absorb that cost.
As part of Avail? No.
As a part of our $296,000 annual fee, we cover benefits VIP and we cover the mobile app.
Can I clarify that just a little bit as well? Because I want to make sure that everyone understands that. If y'all remember in fall of last year when we were getting into the weeds of self-insured, Mr. Bryan was at a meeting, I believe in this room, and he put on the board, and we went through this long algorithmic formula of how the self-insured work, and it was, you know, and in that formula, it was different pieces of that, you know, expenses went to different places. And in that formula that we agreed upon then, was already, the contract effectuator was in there. So this is a lot of money, but it's already built into the formula that we've already approved. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the bid that was submitted was actually lower than what we had allocated the money for.
Yes.
So to your question, it's going to come through the services that they're doing, but the money that we're already paid is, it's already part of that formula. We're already collecting the money, so it's not going to cost us another dime more. We're just now onboarding this company to start doing the services that we had already planned on doing, that we're already allocating money for throughout that long algorithmic formula. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Darren.
No, sir, you're exactly right. And,
Okay.
and Mr. Summerduck's part of that too was that you are already paying another agent, and it was in Alexander and Company, and their contract ends May 30th. Theirs will begin June 1st for your life, your dental, vision, the what we call ancillary products. They were your agent. So part of that $296,000 is not the contract effectuation of the medical, but it was for the effectuation of your ancillary or your voluntary program. They're getting paid that part. The piece that we pulled out in FSHIP is the 2.5% that we budgeted for the medical effectuation, which they came in lowered it to, I think, 2.2%. So, and what was it? 2.25. And so, and the district has been paying funding that amount into your savings account at FSHIP since January. So there is a surplus there as well, because we've been getting ready as a district for that. But it's the 296 is composed of dollars that have to, by statute, go to commission to agents on those voluntary programs. So it's not just, that's not new expense, that's just going to a different agency.
So we've been in it for 4.5 months now, correct?
Yes, sir, in FSHIP. Yes, sir.
And any projections on how we're doing?
So I can.
I know it's early and you haven't got all
Yeah,
the bills.
and I can address that. So far, we've been watching it month by month. And you're right to say that. It's very early. And so to get a true mathematical formulation, we have to have a lot of data in there. Now, having said that, in those first 4 months, it has been very good. Better than what we had projected with regards to the money that we're putting in versus the money that's going out. Now, again, month by month, one issue, you know what I mean? Somebody with a serious medical condition, you know, can really upend that, but we're in it for the long haul, right? We although we're happy with what we're seeing, we know that we have to be an average of years in that. And if you'll remember, saving money is great. I'm always about that. But if you remember, we really went through this program to stop the hemorrhaging of these insurance companies from showing up on their horses, mask, and gun like Jesse James and his gang and making us give them more money for really no more, you know, premium expenses that they could show for us.
Right.
And so if we could just break even, you know, I'd be happy with that. The fact that if we can save money through this project, I'll drive to North Florida and shake their hands if we can make that happen.
So just as long as we're talking, the dental, we've been losing money on
Yes.
dental every year.
Right.
You know, we support our retired employees,
Yep.
families and so forth. And since you mentioned dental, it made me think about that. What are we projecting there for dental and dental costs for our employees and stuff?
So I don't know how far along Ms. Jordan is, but we know that we're going to have to readdress that. There was a fund balance that we know is getting depleted, and we will have to readdress that and reassess fees and what that's going to cost going forward. I don't know if that's going to be at this year or next year, but I know that we're getting close to that. Is that correct, Ms. Jordan?
It's included.
Yes.
The new fees are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all the ancillary fees, again, as Darren mentioned, everything's, the standard commissions that are being paid out currently, that we would be taking that over June 1st.
Well, I believe.
We certainly would evaluate all of the products that you have in place right now to make sure that they are the best for Hendry County schools, and we're paying the appropriate premium and it's funded properly. Because on your dental plan, it's self-funded.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And I believe specifically what Mr. Semmerdak's referring to is the expense is outpacing the income. And so
Right.
we know that we have to address that.
We did,
Yep.
yes. Yep, and we will absolutely do that for you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
you want to add anything, Lane?
Just one thing on the benefits VIP, those employees are our employees. They're within our company. It's not a third-party vendor. So there'll be 6 or 7 employees dedicated to Hendry County. So when the employees call, it's not a customer service. We get in trouble if we say customer service. It's truly a member advocate tool. And so those employees are trained on every benefit. So it's one call. They don't have to call multiple carriers.
And the same person will help get them through those steps to the solution, whatever their issue is. We'll get 6 different people to answer them.
And if you think about it, we shop for everything in life. We Google, we shop on Amazon and that sort of thing, but we don't shop for healthcare, and there is a way to do that. And that's what those advocates do. Just like I think we mentioned MRI. The way I explain it to employees, the bigger building you go to, the bigger bill you're going to get. Smaller building, you're going to get a smaller bill. So my doctor, he works for a hospital. If I have an MRI order, he wants me to go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'll go to a freestanding facility. Save a tremendous amount of money. So a lot of it is education, which I'm sure everybody will be open to. So, and we enjoy that, and we enjoy employees saving money.
And all of that in your app that you were talking about?
Yes, absolutely, the mobile app, absolutely. All of those services will be at their fingertips, or they can pick up the phone and call them 8 to 8:30 on Eastern Time, Monday through Friday.
How quickly would that app be rolled out to us once this contract is done?
We will take over the contract June 1st if it's approved, and then 60 days, it'll be up and running for us to be able to deploy that and have it set up properly and all the benefits loaded accurately. That would be that outside date of having that ready. Yes, sir.
Any further questions? Ready for recommendation, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yes, Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation on action item B?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I recommend your approval of action item 5B, ITN number 24-20027, insurance contract effectuation selection of Accentria.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Samuelite, second by Mr. Houston. Any further discussion? Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, team.
Mr. Superintendent, action item 5C.
Yes, sir. Those of you who opened and looked through there, you notice there's another wad of proposed policy changes, and it's time to get those advertised. So I recommend your approval of action item 5C, permission to advertise proposed policy revisions, volume 24, number 2, November 2023.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Busey, second by Ms. Nelson. Do you have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next action item, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, sir. Action item 5D, non-instructional reappointments. I recommend your approval as presented.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ms. Busey, seconded by Reverend Brown. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, looks like we'll move on, have no old business, no attorney updates.
Well, I actually do just want to
You do?
put on record for the board that the next board meeting is May 21st. I'll be attending by Zoom because I will have a new baby. but I still
One way or the
plan-
other.
Hopefully by the 21st I will. But I will be available to you, but it'll be through Zoom. And if you have any questions throughout my maternity leave, continue to email and call me, and I'll get back to you whenever I can. The best way to reach me is probably through email.
Okay, very good. Is that all?
That's it.
All right, very good. Move on to board member business. So, Madam Attorney, you have anything for board member business for us?
I don't have anything,
No?
but I do
We
see
do
that there's
have,
an
we
agenda.
do have an item right here, though. Board member business, A, the RFQ 24. Mr. Superintendent, we have a recommendation on this.
So I don't believe that this is only kind of an FYI. This is no action item for you to take at this time, and on Thursday, we will be working with the selection committee to determine who the contract management team will be that will build the new LaBelle High School. We have four now? 4 or 5? Yeah, no, it was 6, but I think 2. 4.
We're done.
Yes.
I thought you were
We have-
talking about people that.
Right, no, we have 4 contract management firms that are vying to build that, and so we'll be sifting those and listening to presentations in their written packets on Thursday, and we hope to have a determination then. We'll bring back to you at your next regularly scheduled board meeting a recommendation for that. That is an advertised meeting for public and board members if they wish to sit in and observe through that process.
Do we have a floor plan on all this so far? I've not seen a floor plan.
So once this happens, what we have is a concept plan, which is that one there. And then once we get through this next step, then we will start doing floor plans, actual plans, blueprints, editing, working with our contract management teams, engineers to make that happen. About 200, we know that it's about a 217,000 square foot facility, only because it has to go with student stations and numbers and stuff like that. We have seen some samples, obviously, through our architect, but nothing specific to ours. Yes, sir. So that was kind of what that one is. I have a handful of other ones, sir.
You got a handful of other ones?
Yeah.
All right.
If y'all, board, please be patient with me tonight. I got a couple that we need to talk about. I was approached a week and a half ago by a representative of a nationwide franchise that would like to purchase some property. And the property they're specifically interested in is on the southwest corner of the Clewiston Middle School facility where we had the bus that advertises the for sale sign, not for the bus drivers need. It would be a good place to sell buses, I guess, but it's not what we're doing there.
Christmas tree lot.
Christmas tree lot, exactly. And so the Christmas tree lot is specifically where this said entity would like to purchase from us. I let them know that it couldn't be an outright sale. It was government property. If we were going to do it, it'd have to go through some sort of RFP or so that we could be, legal and fair and do it in a manner to give everyone equal opportunity. I didn't want to go down that road if not selling property there, that specific piece is something that this board didn't deem appropriate, or if it is something you wanted to do, then we're happy to go down that road. But if you have any questions of me, feel free to ask them, but I would ask for an official vote tonight on if you would like to see the RFP process move forward. Only because it's quite cumbersome, it's a little arduous for staff to do. I don't want to ask them to go through that. If the sentiment of the board is, by no means do we want to sell that property. If that's the case, you have the right to do that. So I just kind of would like to test the waters with you first before I even went down that road.
I'd like to know, who's the franchise?
Well, I'm on a what's it called? Yes, not allowed to tell the specific, yeah, right. I can't tell. It's a nationwide chain
But that depends on, what wants, as a resident of Clewiston, what you want to put there really depends on whether I can support it or not.
Well, so having said that, that would be what the RFP would look like, and then, you don't have to approve any of them, right? But if it was one that you didn't like, you could always say, not gonna happen no matter what you're willing to pay, right? But if it was one that would be beneficial to the community, then y'all would have the ability to approve that. And so if that helps you understand. And it wouldn't be fair for me to say who it was on the dais and in this situation.
So does the RFP put it up for anybody, and it's advertised and anybody could buy it?
That's correct, and that's the whole purpose of that. As a government entity, I think it would be wrong of us to offer it to or negotiate with just one company. I believe that either people in our community could if they felt like they wanted to, make a proposal for it, or anyone that, would have a fair and equal opportunity to purchase government property, if you will, at that point in time.
How big is that piece?
So off the top of my head, it's maybe an acre or maybe a click less. but it wouldn't be the entire piece. I think it would just be the piece that basically is not in retention there, used for retention.
That's what I was
And then-
gonna ask you.
right.
Is it that whole strip?
Not the whole strip, no. But then permitting, land use changes and all that would be obviously their responsibility. I don't want to be involved in that, and I don't want to get us involved in that.
You said it won't be the whole strip, just how far down would it?
Yes, sir. About, if you'll notice on there, there is a flat piece where the Christmas tree sells and where the bus is sitting now. And it goes for maybe a couple of 100 feet before the retention area starts. And so it would be just the flat part there. Big enough to put a said, business, established merit with parking.
So would access to that piece of property be off of the highway, or would it be off a side street? Because then you'd have all that traffic for the middle school. Now we got 1,000 cars coming in because it's like a McDonald's where you're gonna have cars lined up down through the middle school waiting to get service.
Traffic was one of the first things I thought about, obviously. And
It's atrocious there.
so.
Well, I'm not trying, we shouldn't sell, but I
Yeah.
think you need to
And really that
consider
would be
what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and obviously that would be a DOT, would have to sort that out and do Y lanes or deceleration lanes or turn lanes or whatever they would have to do, to accommodate for that. So, but that is a consideration.
So we have to sell it, we don't have to sell it, we don't want to, right?
I'm sorry, what was
We
that?
have to sell it if we don't want to sell it.
You don't have to sell it at all. This is school board property, you own it, and you don't have to sell it. You do not. This is nothing that we have to do. This is something that was brought before me, and I feel compelled to bring it before you for you to make the decision. And tonight, the only decision is do you even want to see proposals on it? And if the answer is we don't want to deal with traffic, or we don't want to, entertain it, then that's fine with me. But if you want to see what it is, then I just
So
need to
how
know.
much labor is involved in our, you say, well, I don't want my people to have to do this. We're not going
So it
anywhere.
takes staff.
But we might do it and say, I still don't want to do it, because, well, we
Yeah.
shouldn't have sent our people to do all this work
Right.
now. We're kind of obligated. I don't want to put in a position now I'm obligated because we said, okay, I'm
Yeah,
part of it.
sure. I think it takes Ms. Willis probably a day to day and a half to research what the parameters of said RFP for a purchase or a sale of property would look like. And then, so I think in under 1 to 2 days' time, we have a procurement specialist that does that for us, and she could give a rough draft. Typically, what we do is then we let Mr. Busey would take a shot at editing. I would edit it. We always allow the attorney a chance to edit to make sure we're not missing something legal in there. And so it's 3 to 4 days worth of work and a little bit of time. So it's not undoable. We don't mind doing it, but it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes. If it's something y'all don't want to do, then that's why I said we'll stop. But if you want to see it, we're happy to put it out there. It could be, again, the pros would be it would allow an injection of some funds back into capital, allow some things to happen in the district. It would add some income revenue, tax-wise back to the community and ultimately back to the district. And negatives, obviously, and provide maybe another source of a business for us to use and citizens to use. Negative would be probably the biggest, I would say, would be traffic, and making sure DOT and the city work with them to mitigate traffic for that area.
Would the money that the sale be restricted, the funds be restricted?
Yeah, I suspect that when you sell, now, our chief financial officer's not here, I don't know if Ms. Tanner can address this. My hunch would be that it would need to be, since you're selling capital property, it would need to be a capital type project of some type, which we have plenty of capital projects going on at this point in time. That would be a good investment of the funds. Okay.
I don't know that it would work. See what it would be worth. It's really almost useless to us, as small of a piece as it is.
I can, that's right, as long as we're not obligated, because it's been, like Mr. Busey's got a lot of free time, I know.
Oh, yeah, every day.
I do it.
Every day.
But,
Nap time. You can do it during nap time.
I'm gonna tell you what, that man answers the phone,
yeah,
or calls back, doesn't matter, regardless.
He does.
He's phenomenal.
always responded.
He does.
Oh,
Nice to know, thank you, it's on video.
if you don't mind, I would like to have a vote, just to give me the clear direction of what, as a board, you would like to see happen from this point forward.
Make your recommendation to get approved.
Okay, then having said that, I recommend that we produce an RFP for the said piece of property under discussion and put it out to see what type of response we get.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sampradine, seconded by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
5-0.
Thank you, Board.
Those don't put those strip joint next to the school.
And now you're on the road.
Yeah.
Now you're on it.
People crazy these days, put anything, you know.
Well noted, we'll make sure we put that disclosure in there. Second one is an FYI. We've talked about this one in the past. We've got multiple pieces of property between here and LaBelle. And y'all know that one of the things that we struggle with is housing for our teachers. And the further to the Lewiston side you come, the more difficult it gets. And so does hiring and retaining folks because of that alone. We have developed, Ms. Willis, Mr. Busey, myself, and Ms. Tanner, we have developed an RFP so that we could allow either local or not, folks to take a look at what the properties are and to potentially put in teacher housing on each side of the district on our property, but then leverage some of the other properties that we have to buy down the cost of that. The cost of doing that alone, even if we gave someone the property, the price you have to charge in rent is still well above what a beginning teacher can pay for an apartment. If we can take the other pieces of property that we have and use them as some sort of payment and leverage that to buy down the expenses with ours so that we can get it to an affordable rate, I think that we're poised at a time when we're right to do that, and in a very needed time within our where we are today in our community and in our county. Again, this is an RFP. This is not something we have to do, but this is an opportunity for us to think outside of the box, leverage property that the sizes of the property we can't do anything with anyway. We can't build a school. We can't put structures or anything on them. So they've just been kind of sitting for 40, 50 plus years, and I think now is the time for us to leverage them and try to do something that would be highly impactful back to our community. So I'm really letting you know that we're releasing that one probably within the next week, and so hopefully in June, July, we were able to come back with some type of proposals that companies are willing to come and work with us as a true partnership to be able to provide some housing.
What properties do we have that are significant enough for like housing development?
So we have properties mostly in the Bell. We only have one in the Lewiston area, which that one I would love to see stay in the Lewiston area for housing for our employees. We have about 5 other ones and I think that y'all have seen this document, and I can share it with you if you have not, but there's roughly 5 other ones in LaBelle that range in size between 10 and 15 acres. And so that's a pretty significant piece of property that can be used for either single-family housing, apartment complexes, condos, or something like that. And so we believe that it's going to be a fairly significant amount of builders that will want to look at this. Again, build one for us, and we'll give you property, to build yours on. Or some side, let them propose to us what will work for them and buy down the cost of ours and theirs so that we can both get what we need as a result. And so we believe that we're going to have very significant pieces of property that would be usable. There's in Banyan Village, there's a 52-acre piece that we're not going to consider. We're going to hold on to that one so that our, whoever comes behind us will have that as an opportunity to build as the community continues to grow and build there. So that one could be a school site, but really that's the only one out of the entire list.
Who would maintain these properties?
So all in the proposal, right? And so I don't have all those answers today. If you ask me, my perfect world, I would want that company who built them to also maintain them and lease them, but under our guidance and under contractual amounts. So you built it and you can keep, and even let them have the money off of it for them maintaining it and to pay down the mortgage that they mortgaged it with, but at the specified rate. So we don't want them to do that and still charge $1,800 a month, because then that just puts it out of touch for our folks. Again, the overarching theory is leverage the properties we have, allow someone to build it, collect rent at a specified and agreed upon rate that is doable for our employees.
Has this model occurred in any other district that we're aware of?
There is
successfully?
actually, at this point in time, there is a lot of these happening throughout the state. Monroe County has got a developer that's putting an entire block in downtown Key West. Miami-Dade, they're building 3-story schools now, and the 1-story 1 and 2 are schools. Story 3 is housing for the teachers. There are other school districts that are.
Your company is looking to.
Yep, and so every district.
Minnesota, I think, has one up and running, started this year.
Yep.
They build it. And
So.
These sound like counties with big old tax bases.
Yeah, lots of sandy beaches and stuff. The beauty of it is I'm looking to do this with zero investment from Hendry County Schools. And so we need to think outside the box. What we suffer from is being able to recruit and retain talent. And if we can use property that we are not currently using, we invest $0 into this, but yet wind up with somewhere where we can hire teachers to come here at a very affordable rate in a very nice, fairly brand new complex. I think that gives us a competitive edge over a lot of other companies, even at that rate, especially with the salary that we pay. So we see this as an opportunity for us to do something monumental, and outside of the box and trendy, in the education world.
Where's the postal property located?
If you go over the railroad, just before you get to the Kirch property on the right, where that mobile home sales is, we own about 12 to 15 acres total in that area. So it's less than a mile outside of town, decent quiet part of town. There's a nice fishing pond right there.
And that's been annexed into the city, correct?
It has. Yep, correct. So, again, and I'm happy to keep talking, share what I've got, share, this pieces of information. If you have more questions now, I want y'all to be comfortable with it. And I want, I'm hoping and praying that we see some really good responses back from companies that want to engage.
Any rural districts or similar districts or Heartland inland districts doing this yet?
So they are all talking about it. I don't know that any of them have done them. Even in Glades, they even identified property. They're identifying places to put them. 1 to 2 to 3 years ago, in every district, every superintendent that I've talked to, we all sit around and talk about opportunities, how we can do it, everything from mobile homes to trailers to RVs. And so we just brainstorm every way possible because we're all suffering from the same, illness there of the housing and then what people have to pay.
Is access to these going to be something that has to be bargained? Because I know I would be mad if I was say, established teacher here had a place, new person comes in, we already feel and hear the rub about having these mid-term teachers are barely making what the new teachers are coming in, and you recruit a new teacher in, and then they get this subsidized housing as a part of their package. Does that require us to up, the investment to the teachers or the people who already have there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And who are also paying property taxes into this county.
Right, yeah, that's a good question. And we have had multiple conversations with union about it. And at the end of the day, I believe they're in full understanding and in agreement that you have to do this to get teachers here. How that looks with regard to that package, that can be fleshed out. I don't believe it'll have to be bargained necessarily because this is not part of a salary, if you will. But we want to the goal would be to build enough in LaBelle and enough in Clewiston to satisfy in both sides of the district with what we have available.
We can negotiate that though with the builder, right?
Negotiate what?
That you'll have to have so many new teachers or so many,
Yes, correct.
We could always put our stipulations in there if we wanted.
That's right.
On anything.
I think you would have
Would it be
some.
possible, would it be possible, like, just what Mr. Bassman said on red flag, would it be used for anything other than teacher housing?
My goal is for it to give us, in other words, here's a said amount of properties. I won't want a teacher housing in Clewiston, teacher housing in LaBelle, dedicated to us, right?
Only us.
And now, you take your property and you build what you want to build on yours. If you want to build houses, you want to build apartments, whatever, that's your business, what you
Was it
build on yours.
intermingled like,
So we have to maintain some type of control of who's there, right? And there are ways to do that, there's legal ways to do that. And if we don't, and that the question has come up, what if you don't fill all the doors, you know? Well, then you can do maybe law enforcement, EMTs, other public service, you know, folks that are also struggling, but yet in the public service sectors. And that's who we would like to see our contracts to be with and house them before anything got outside of that.
so what's the difference between workforce housing and affordable housing? Because if it's affordable housing, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but we've talked about this before and like looked at it, this is several years ago. But if it's affordable housing, it's based on income, and it doesn't matter like what your job is.
Yeah.
Or if you
Right.
don't have a job.
That's right. This is,
So this is gonna be affordable housing, is it gonna like
yeah,
mix
no,
everybody up, you know,
No.
our staff with, you know, income-based qualifications, or can you specifically carve it out for workforce and define the workforce that you're looking for, your first
Yeah.
responders?
and that's why we want to maintain some ownership. And so we own it. In other words, we own our property. You're going to build on it. We're going to give you property to go do what you want to on, but we're going to own ours. And that would give us a lot more leverage in who's there and who's not. And this would be, in my mind, transitional type housing. This is not going to be meant for a teacher to come and live in for 20 years while they work for us, but to be with us for that 2 to 3 year period until they're here, they're established, they can afford now a down payment or a home or whatever they want to live in. And that way we kind of have a continual turnover of somewhere where we can attract new people year in, year out, and over a set period of time.
So a question I have too is, and our governor has no tolerance for squatters, but our state law is very protective. It's of, like, with renters. And so you have somebody, you come in, you have to terminate them, they're in this property, how do you get them out?
Yeah, right.
Especially if you got somebody like, oh, I'm a single mom with 2 kids, like, I just think that that's gonna be challenging.
Yeah. I had a friend who had a rental homes, and the courts told him he couldn't throw them out. He said, fine, but I still own the property, right? They said, yes, you own it. So he went and took all the exterior doors off, and they left the next day.
Are you gonna do that to the single mom with 2 kids?
No, we have a maintenance director that does that.
I'm gonna tell you, I think that would be a situation right there.
It is.
If I could add in, because Ms. Houston, that is a concern that I have, and me and Mr. Swindle talked about that, of a situation if a teacher is terminated from the district, then you have to go through the eviction process as well, and it can get very hairy. So I think that this is something that's going to be heavily governed by contract between us and the contractor, as well as the leasee and the leaseor. So we're going to have some stipulations in the agreement that if there's termination, then they have a set amount of days to remain there, and we have to provide them adequate notice and an opportunity to find alternative housing, because otherwise that's getting into a whole other legal scenario that would not be good for us. But it again would be something that would have to be covered by the contract of the eventual agreement that we enter into. There's a lot of considerations.
And like in my former real estate life, like when you see people who are evicted from a property or properties foreclosed where they're being forced out of a property, they don't want to leave, like they can trash the place, like be very damaging. And then who does that responsibility to fix that? And we said fix that property, is it at us, is it our district maintenance staff, is it the contractor, like the leasing company?
There's a lot of that hopefully gets fleshed out through the RFP. Yeah. Again, my goal would be, let them build it and let them own it, but rent it and then keep it up and maintain it and fix the AC units and fix the roofs and go back and paint the walls after they need to be. So all we want is a teacher to be able to live there for a set amount of money that they can afford. Or when we call and recruit them, we can say, we got a nice place at an affordable rate, we want you here, and they take it.
So that'll be like a property maintenance, or property
That's
management.
right. That's right.
Act as a
Yeah.
property manager.
And then they can get their investment back, allow them to do that and get their investment back.
And does property management work for the person, the company we're contracting, or does property management work for the district?
I'm okay with them working for them. I don't want one more burden on our folks that we don't have to have. And again, I don't want to get the cart before the horse. These are conversations that we know we need to decide on, but until we get RFPs in front of us and we have, legal advice and counsel, then we can come back with more clearly defined answers. I'm not asking to decide on any of that tonight. I'm just saying I would love to see what those proposals look like from said companies, and is it doable for us, and what would it look like for our employees, and if we could make that work or not.
I agree.
Good questions. Please write them down, if you think of others, because they are things that, we do need to address and answer.
Oh, my wheels are turning now.
Good. Okay. And I'm happy to discuss it further if anybody would want to, or afterwards, or in a call or a meeting, whatever you would like. So, just wanted y'all to know this, because if anybody said anything or asked y'all about this, you would know that that was out there and we're moving forward with it. The next two county commission meetings, next Tuesday, a week from tonight, and then theirs are opposites of ours, so theirs is the second and fourth. They're going to be holding the impact fee hearings at their meetings. If any of you care to go and listen here, how those go, I just want to make sure you were aware of that and reminded of that. And so if you wanted to go to those, that you have the option to go, and you know that they're happening.
So is that the 14th?
Second and
May.
fourth.
Yes, sir, the 14th and 28th. That is correct.
And 5:30
No, I think
Five
there's,
o'clockers?
I think theirs are fives.
Yeah.
and the 14th, is it?
Yes, sir. Clewiston, theirs would be the 14th in Clewiston, 28th in LaBelle.
I'm good about it.
The LaBelle High School Cowgirls are district softball champions. Go LHS Cowgirls. Tomorrow night is their, yes, they are doing phenomenal. Tomorrow night is their regional quarterfinals at 7 o'clock in LaBelle. If anybody has the opportunity to come out and support the Cowgirls, so that would be good. I plan to be there myself and rooting them on, so just making sure you guys are aware of that as well. Mr. Simmernack, are you going to bring up the Plus property?
Oh, can I? Yes.
So, all right, I won't, so I'll just wait and support you on that. If there's no more questions of me, then I will turn it over to who's next. Thank you.
I want to say that the ones that did not make the parade, we had a good time in the parade, and I was absolutely blown away at the people that wanted to get on the reading bus during the parade. I mean, we had people getting on the bus in the middle of the parade and getting books, taking books. Absolutely amazing. So I think that was just well worth the time. I'm glad Mr. Swindle hurried up and asked us to participate in that. That was awesome. So other than that, that's all I had for the evening. Mr. Chairman.
Just something quick. I'm also on the Port LaBelle Utility Services Board, and they have expressed interest in a piece of property that we have. It's on Northwest Raintree. If you know where the water pump system is, it's right on 80. This is about maybe 1,500 feet behind and over. Because of demand now by Port LaBelle for water, they're going to have to put in more wells. They can't just put one well next to another. They have to geographically separate them. So they identified this piece of property that the school board owns. It's 14 acres. At first, they sort of said, we're only going to need maybe a 20 by 20 building on that piece of property, right on the corner, right near the right-of-way. And then, the more they look at it, they said, well, you know what? We're going to need more wells than that. So then they looked at possibly putting more wells on this piece of property. Then the idea came up, they're going to need a new fire station, the county is. And said, well, here's 14 acres. They could do their new fire station in this area. They could also make it a park. So a lot of ideas are being floated on the properties that the school board currently owns. This one in particular because it's so close to their water plant. And there's a meeting in 2 weeks on Thursday where this will come up at our utility board meeting and see in what direction you're going. But right now I'm just giving you a heads up. Then in that, I could be coming back in 2 weeks or so and say, well, they're really interested, the county is interested. Do we want to purchase it? Do they want to buy it? Do we want to donate part of it for their water system and then use it for some, and then sell it off? But a lot of things are happening now where for 30 years, nothing was happening out in Corporateville, and it's now exploding with houses and demand. So that's what's going on. And now we have the impact fees coming in here in the next few weeks. Then you get a timeline on the impact fees. It's like 60 or 90 days before they have to go public, and then and so, but things are changing for us. And I just wanted to give you a heads up on that piece of property. So in case you hear about it again, it's not too far from the water plant. That's what I know.
Any questions about that?
You and I kind of spoken briefly. I don't think there's any conflict of interest, but my husband's company is doing design work for these projects, and they've been in talks with the superintendent. Should the situation arise, I'll just recuse myself.
We'll make sure we get with Ms. Tanner and find out that it's close enough where you need to,
I don't know anything about it except I saw 4 squares on a picture.
It's close. We're nowhere near a vote.
So just putting that out there, but I don't have anything else tonight.
Lieutenant, how is the project going here without BPK? Everything online, everything available?
Yes, sir. And if anyone wants to walk after, I'll be happy to walk over with them and take a look around. Before the meeting, Ms. Nelson wanted to tour. It's getting to the point where if you don't recognize the old parts of the building that are there, you would think this is a brand new construction. Mr. Busey, his team, maintenance, and the contractors are just doing an absolute wonderful job. It looks very good. I mean, it's going to be a very nice new facility, if you will. We're very excited about it. Ms. Rhymes, I think, was here today, and she's coming back Friday. I know she's doing a radio interview Friday to talk about it with the community, and so we're very, very excited about it. It's getting a new roof, so we'll have a new roof on it. The walls are all new. It's going to have a new playground out on the west side. They're right now in the process of designing where the parent drop-off, bus drop-off parking, the foyer, and stuff like that. It's going to be a really nice facility. And at this point in time, we believe we are perfectly well on pace to open up when school opens up.
Last thing I have here is you have any feedback on the school being year-round?
So what we're doing, we are in the midst right now of going through all of the schools, and I think we are at 8 of the schools so far. We've done 8 of the 10 schools where we're bringing the entire employees of that school together, not just teachers, and just hold an open conversation about it, tell them what the theory is behind it, give them the over and under, and talk about issues they see, and then we're allowing them to vote on whether they like the idea or don't like the idea.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I thought you were going to say, how's the vote going? I'm glad you didn't. And not that it's bad. And they're asking that, well, where's the votes? And I don't want to reveal, we've got the tallies on it, but I don't want to sway anybody one way or the other. I want everyone to weigh in. I want all of our employees to talk about it and have an option to hear it before we release what that is. So we'll wait.
I've been hearing on both sides. Some
Yes,
good and some.
yes, and so have we, right? Yep, and so have we. There's a lot of folks that like it. There's a lot of folks who are not in favor of it. There's a lot of folks who are indifferent. It don't matter if you go to school 8 days a week, they'll be there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So piggyback off what Rep's saying about the balanced calendar updates, what percentage of approval do you have to have? Is this going to be like a 2/3?
So, it'll ultimately be a board vote, right? And so that's up to you guys so it will be you passing it or not. If we, the way I've been thinking about it is this, to pass a said motion, you have to have a 51% plus, you have to have a 51% vote, to pass a said motion. According to parliamentary law, and I'm no lawyer, but I did study parliamentary law one time, when you do things that takes away high-level rights on a board, like your speaking rights or something like that, you have to have what's known as a supermajority or 75%. I really can't think of much more change we could do that would be any higher level than changing the entire paradigm of what a school year and structure would look like. And so I'm letting all the folks know that if we don't have a 75% employee vote, that they think that this would absolutely benefit teaching, learning, employees, their mental health, and how we surround them as a culture and a community, then I'm not willing to go forward with it at that point in time. And so if that helps you at all.
Okay, so if we get the 75 there, is it going to, like, public?
Yeah,
polling in the
right.
community?
That's right. And if we get to that point, then we're already planning to do some community outreach, holding some forums, during the day and the evening times, allowing parents the opportunity to come in and talk to us about what they see and what they like and what we've heard and stuff like that. But if we only get to a 60% or whatever vote, or a 40% vote with our employees, there's no need to hold any community forums at that point. And so we're probably within maybe within a week of being able to talk about, do we want to take the next steps or not?
Okay. All right. Exit surveys. I know, every year about this time you start seeing the changes in employment here and resignations. Are we doing any kind of form of exit survey?
So I'll let Ms. Jordan speak to that. I know that different positions, if you're at a said school versus district, and who they report to and how they let us know they're going, or how they let us know they're leaving. And so it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I'll let Ms. Jordan, being in HR, address that. Or Dr. Stinley.
Yes, I'm gonna let her answer that one, yes.
So it's on their PAF, so when it's being filled out, it comes to us at the questions that were asked for the exit survey. So yes, we are doing that. Yes.
Okay, so are they tied to is there any can you do it anonymously?
No, we don't have an anonymous one. It comes on there, and some refuse to answer. So we have that too. We have that as a little button, but we have not offered an anonymous one before.
I just think that, you hear things on this, and I think that a lot of people are not going to, because they're planning on a next chapter in their life or what their next move is, and they're not going to give feedback that may not be perceived as positive because they don't want to, even though I would hope that their future recommendations and endorsements would not be jeopardized, but to be able to allow them some kind of platform just I think maybe even help the district to know what's really going on.
I think they're important. I think we absolutely should.
So, but out of fairness though, we do that though. Every school gets the opportunity to give evaluations every single year. And it is an open forum where it's not traceable. We don't know who it is. And as a team, IT helps us with this, and we sit down as a team and we look at those questions. And it's about culture, it's about expectations, it's about the different things that we have identified that's important to running a school. And we get an enormous amount of feedback off of that. And based on those feedbacks, we do sit down with said principals and we go over what's been said on said campus. As district team, we look at what their feedback is to us specifically, what's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And we do address those things. In some cases, the Huddle Up Hendry event that we have at the beginning of the school year, that's one of the ways we drive some of the classes, if you will, that we hold for our folks. If they're struggling with something or don't like something, or we see we need more help with MTSS, or we need more help with insurance, or whatever it may be, that's how we know what to offer them. And that's probably, I suspect, what you're talking about, although it may not be discipline.
Well, I think that there's different than providing feedback during the year, like these are fixable, but when somebody resigns, that's like, it's over, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
And so why? Because, it's great to be able to recruit, it's better to be able to retain. If there are employees you want to retain.
Yeah.
And so to be able to glean that feedback, and I think, if they can provide it without it being traced back, then you're gonna be more likely to get a level of, a candid level of this is what's really going on, and maybe it would be enlightening to the organization to have that, because it's different when you're willing to still work on it, and it's frustrating, but when it's finite like that and you're done and you're over with, I think that there's information there that you can that's worthy of understanding. I think would make the organization better to hear that and to understand that, and to give those people those protections to be able to say that freely.
I don't know what that would look like, but I don't know why we couldn't look into it and see what it would be. And I don't know that they need to be anonymous. I don't know about you, but I get the calls and they call me and these principals are everything but a child of God sometimes. So they don't care
No
about
one has
it.
been called something other than the child of God more than I. You know, it's true. And so, like, I get that, but I think, like, you know, there's people who are timid and who are more timid than that and would, I just think we may glean valuable information to improve that organization through that process.
Okay.
And so I have one last thing. I hope I haven't gone over my 10 minutes and I'm trying to behave. Okay. So today I have Google alerts on my phone. So anything that like Hendry pops on Hendry County or anything, there was an article that came out in Newsweek, and it was misleading, but it was talking about the highest dropout rates. So when I saw that, I was like, if Hendry County was turned on, I went and looked at it. And it said that we're leading the state in, we're number 1 in dropouts. And I'm like, the math wasn't mathing for me. So I went back and looked, I'm like, where you're getting your information? It was from the 2022 census, and it was talking about 25 and younger. We have the largest population percentage-wise, 25 and younger for people who don't either have a GED or a high school diploma. And so it got me thinking about future makers and how, so I get like really spicy about Hendry County because I think a lot of these larger regional organizations and stuff want to use our data because our data is very favorable on them getting fundraising and grants. But at the end of the day, to like use our data, you've got to serve our community well. And I'm wondering, like, you know, future makers, what some of the stuff that we were doing with them, their goals were to improve graduation rates and post-secondary outcomes and attainment and stuff. And so kind of how that is all playing together and how effective is that organization in being and helping and moving those needles for us. And because I just don't want to like be a part of something and give them up, you know, here, take our data and then not produce for us.
There. So the future makers, I don't know if you've heard of the presentation the challenge that I took as a superintendent for the African American male graduation rates. I don't know if you've heard that, Ms. Houston, or not, but Future Makers was a huge part of the research for that and the action steps that we took. I do know that, and that upended the African American graduation rate, you know, for Hendry County and Wilson High School. And I do know that as workforce development director, they put about 130 grand in my hand over about a 3.5-year period to help put programs in place, and they still engage with them today, paying tuitions. They provide a navigator to make, you know, to provide unemployed or underemployed folks avenues to get our trainings that we offer. So they're very engaged in what they offer us. And I'm kind of a little bit removed from all the specific day-to-day things, so I'm sure there's others that I'm just not coming to the top of my mind.
I would just, you know, kind of love to see like what the measurable outcomes on that. And like, I know that they've made the investment, but how has it really moved the needle for our county? Because it was shocking like, that they put the whole map of Florida and all the counties outlined.
Is that today?
It came out today.
I swear I've seen that before, though. We've seen that a while back. I mean, a couple months back, we seen that. We were like, we questioned the math and
Exactly, because I was like, I know.
where'd they get that from? Because it really never specifically said. Yeah, I believe that we've seen exactly that, and it just, I struggle with believing all the.
Well, it was based
matrix they
on,
were-
well, it wasn't DOE information. Because that was like, the math
Yeah.
wasn't mathing, so I was like 22 census. So it's a broader scope than what, you know, our true graduation rates are, but that's the way they were framing it in this article. But it does bring to light the, that age group that is still struggling with, you know, GEDs, high school diplomas, and ultimately like workforce.
That could be transient people too.
I thought about that, like if it is
Migrant workers.
migrant workers, like it doesn't have that,
I
so.
don't think that's gonna be real clear.
When we read it, that's what it was just very unclear who they were talking about.
But I mean, I would definitely like to evaluate the, you know, or get a report from them as to like what the measurable outcomes have been from our participation in these programs. And then I think my 10 minutes is up. I don't want to get the gavel wrapped on me, so that concludes my comments.
Give you 30 seconds, sir.
I appreciate your generosity and grace.
All right. Everybody's all done. This meeting